everyone, this is Marine. Thank you so much for joining me on this new lawnfawn video. Today's inspiration is this card I did for the September Inspiration Week. The colors here are pretty traditional for a Halloween card, but I do like non-traditional colors on spooky cards as well. So today we are going to recreate this card, but in two very opposite ways. And I have already did all the die cutting for a rainbow Halloween card on the left and a black and white Halloween card on the right. So not a lot of products were used to create today's cards. We have the Strings of Lights backdrop and the extra bulbs add-on, the candy corn dies from Build-a-Cauldron, the spider die from Cute Cobweb, the largest stitched rectangle stackable die, the largest stitched rectangle frame die, the simple wavy medium banner die, and the greeting is from Simply Fall Sentiments. So let's start with the black and white background. I cut a 5.5 by 4.25 inches Bristol panel that I temporarily stuck to my grip mat. And first, I am going to create a base using hickory smoke and black soot oxide inks. I am starting right in the middle of my panel with hickory smoke. I am going to add black soot on the four sides, and I am going to mix the colors with my blending tools. And I am going to repeat this 2 or 3 times until I am happy with the blending. So now we are going to add a spider web to this already spooky background. I stuck my spider web background stencil on top of my panel, and I am going to use the same oxide inks as before, but I am going to apply the inks with a heavier hand so that we can see a nice contrast between the base and the spider web. So I am starting with black soot on the 4 edges of the spider web, and I am going to add and blend some hickory smoke in the center of the panel. So we definitely could leave this spiderweb background just as it is now, but if you've been following my work for a while, you know what the next step is. I am going to add texture, and not just a little, to my background. And I am going to start with water droplets that I am going to dry with a paper towel. Next, I am going to add splatters of liquid stardust. I added a couple of water droplets to a drop of liquid stardust, and I am using a small brush to splatter all over the panel with my shiny droplets. Now let's bring contrast to this background. I mixed a little bit of Copic opaque white ink with water, and again I am splattering the whole piece of paper with my brush. And finally, I am going to mix some black soot oxide ink with water and add more splatters to my panel for even more contrast. So while the monochromatic spiderweb panel is drying, we are going to bring colors to the party to create our rainbow spiderweb. First, we are doing a base using kitsch flamingo, dried marigold, squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, salvage patina and shaded lilac oxide inks. I am going to apply those inks clockwise And just like the monochromatic background, I am going to leave the whole inking and blending process just to show you that it doesn't look good at first, but by applying more ink and switching from a blending tool to another blending tool, you get a beautiful result at the end. Now we can bring the spiderweb background stencil back, and we are going to add the same colors for a tone-on-tone look, but in a darker shade. We have picked raspberry, carved pumpkin, fossilized amber, maudlin, peacock feathers, and wilted violet oxide inks. So again, this background is enough and can be used just like that, but I personally think it needs more details, so I am going to add the same textures as the ones on the monochromatic panel. I am just going to switch for some Villainous Potion oxide ink at the end instead of black soot, because black soot was a bit too dark to me. And our spiderweb backgrounds are done. I am going to set them aside to dry. And we're going to work on the strings of lights backdrops. For the black and white card, I cut a backdrop out of narwhal cardstock. And for the rainbow card, I cut a backdrop out of white cardstock. I added 1 mm foam squares on the 4 sides of each frame and behind each bulb as well. And I am just going to stick my panels to those lights. Now let's move on to the part I enjoyed the most. We are going to add lights on each card. I am starting with the black and white card. I cut the base out of white cardstock and I am gluing those pieces first. And I cut the lights out of fog, narwhal, storm cloud and black licorice cardstock. I am going to attach those grey and black lights on top of the white pieces. And to stick all those small and tiny pieces more easily, I am using my pickup tool. For the lights on the rainbow panel, we already have a white base since I cut the backdrop out of white cardstock. So we can stick the colorful lights right away. I cut them out of guava, fake tan, sunflower, cilantro, tight pull and sugarplum cardstock. And I am sticking them in a rainbow order, of course. Now I want to frame each panel with a contrasting frame. We have a textured canvas black frame on the left and a textured canvas aqua frame on the right. I am sticking both frames using liquid glue, and I am going to attach each panel to a matching card base. And before going further into the process, I am going to make all the lights shine and sparkle by adding White Blizzard Nouveau drops on all of them. So now it's time to assemble the candy corns. I cut the base out of white cardstock. For the grey candy corns, I cut the pieces out of fog, storm cloud and narwhal cardstock. And for the basic candy corns, we have white, fake tan and sunflower cardstock. And again, a pickup tool is very handy to stick such tiny pieces of paper. I cut 6 spiders out of narwhal cardstock, 3 for each card. I added a small piece of black licorice cardstock at the back of them, and I am going to add them on the strings of lights, just as if they were crawling along the strings and having fun between the lights. Now let's bring more fun and cuteness to those spiders. I found those wiggly eyes in my stash and I thought they would be the perfect details to make my spiders extra sweet. I am going to give them all super fun eyes and then we will work on the greetings. So I cut a simple wavy banner out of vellum and I put it back into its negative spot using washi tape at the back. I placed my stamp diagonally on the banner. I picked the stamp with the door of my Misty tool. And now I am just playing with it, bending it and checking with the banner until the stamp follows the curves of the banner. So the shape of the stamp looks good to me. I am going to treat the banner with some powder. This will help the embossing powder to stick to the ink only. I am using clear embossing ink to stamp my greeting. Next, I am sprinkling gold embossing powder on top of the ink. And I am going to melt and heat set the powder to finally read, "Hope you have a spooktacular day." I did the same for the monochromatic card. I just switched to black embossing powder instead of gold. And now I am going to glue those banners by adding tiny dots of glue behind some of the words. I finished each card with a scattering of iridescent star confetti, but I had to cut that part of the footage because it basically was the back of my head on the screen most of the time, so nothing interesting. But here our cards are done. They are super cute, so fun and very shiny, and I hope that you like them, whether you're team monochromatic or team rainbow. Thank you so much for stopping by and for watching this video. Have a very nice day and see you next time. Bye!